but thanks for joining. It's 11:59 and you guys are so on time. I love that. You know the people that are scrambling, put their headphones on and shoo their dogs away. And you guys are very prompt. I love that so much. This is great. This is going to be a fun event today. It's going to be a fun-filled 1 hour. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to laugh. I don't know. We might cry. Who knows? And you never know what happens at these events. So you never know about technology either. So if for some reason my screen goes dark or my dogs have a fit because there's another Amazon package at the front door, I'm going to say in advance, I am so sorry about that. But we all know the world that we live in right now, and that's exactly what can happen to us, right? So let me tell you a little bit about today's one fun-filled informational hour. We are going to be talking about a very interesting subject, how to position yourself for a leadership role. And right now that looks so different because we're in the world of COVID, and how do you position yourself when you're not in the office? I know some people are starting to trickle back, but this is just a whole new world. So we have our expert panelists that are going to be helping us navigate, build some ideas, and we want your input as well. We want you to use that chat feature. At the end of the event, we're going to have 15 minutes to chat, raise questions. We won't do any breakouts today, but the neat thing is you will get a list of everybody that attends this event. You'll get their emails. So if you want to continue networking, we really encourage you to do that. Reach out to some of these people on the line today and continue to build your network. So we will send out those emails. I want to welcome our team first, the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce team. My name is Catherine Harrington, and I'm the brand new president and CEO. Started April 1st. We've been a very, very busy chamber team. I love the clapping. That's awesome. And we've created 10 new programs in just a matter of these very short weeks, hired 4 amazing professionals, and I'm excited to introduce them to you today. First of all, Kara Matheson has been promoted to Director of Workforce as of May 11. So she's going to be leading all of our workforce efforts for the community, bring to her any workforce ideas. You know, workforce right now looks totally different than it did 2 months ago, which, who would have thought? So we're totally pivoting and trying to help some of these folks find jobs. A lot of new campaigns we've built around that. So congrats to your promotion, Kara. You've been an incredible West Des Moines champion and just an incredible help to me and our entire team during this crazy, 6-week period, I guess. So yeah. Happy to introduce Nicole Langmaid. Nicole is our financial operations guru. She started with us about a month ago. I think that's about right. Yeah. And so Nicole's brand new. We're navigating this COVID thing here together. And Bailey First just started with us full-time May 11. She is now our events, marketing, communications, social media guru. And she has so much talent just coming out of those ears of hers. She's just amazing, so smart. Anna Dowd just joined us about 10 days ago, if my calculations are right. And Anna is our Director of Membership and Strategic Partnerships. So if you are currently not a member of the Chamber, we really want you to become a member. Our sole purpose and mission in life is to help you grow your business and build the West Des Moines region. We have 3 key things we're working on, and that is to try to help keep our businesses in business, help keep our employees employed, and help keep West Des Moines strong. And we do that as a non-for-profit, employees of 5 here at the Chamber, but we are really here to help you. So email us, let us know if we can help you, if you have any amazing ideas. We love that. We love to innovate here and serve our community and you as individuals and as business owners and business members. So thank you so much. All right, we are so excited today. This event event is sponsored by Christoper's Fine Jewelry and Rare Coins. And we have Christine. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how amazing Christoper's is? It's your 40th anniversary, which is incredible. So we're so happy to be here with you today.
Thank you, Catherine. Welcome to everyone. This is an interesting opportunity. We're all learning new things, technology, and I will tell you, I am one that leaves myself on mute and cannot figure out how to unmute myself to speak to you all. So, and I, like Catherine, will apologize if my Great Dane makes an entrance in our presentation today. He would like to say hello as well. So, yes, Christoper is celebrating our 40th anniversary. I'll just take a moment to tell you a little bit about us. We started as a coin shop April 1st, 1980, with our owner just barely turning 20 and wanting to venture into business on his own. Today, we operate 2 separate locations, Christoper's Fine Jewelry on Jordan Creek Parkway in West Des Moines, new West Des Moines community members, and we're super excited about that. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Our coin shop now resides in Johnston, so we're on 8671 North Park Court in Johnston, just off of 86th Street. We made those moves last year and are really getting used to this new expanded spaces we have, just excited to be in those new communities. And now, like all of you, navigating the challenges of partially open businesses and staff working remotely, staff in the store, and how do we keep them safe. So it has been very interesting, but I will say as a West Des Moines Chamber member, we were able to have access to some events that really opened our eyes to spaces available for our business in the West Des Moines community that really gave us an opportunity to say, this is the community we want to be in. So far, our chamber experience has been amazing, and I'm thrilled to say that the space that our jewelry department is in is directly due to an event that the chamber hosts every other year, I believe. And we got on big buses and drove around, and they told us all about the spaces and what was available and what was going on in the building. And I went, you know what? This is awesome. Nowhere else is this going on, and we need to be in the middle of this for the next 40 years of our journey. So we're excited to be here as well. And to keep us on time, I'm going to hand it back over to Catherine, and we'll keep going here. But you guys, it's great to see all of you, and I'm glad we're here together.
Well, we all wish, Christine, we could physically visit your new location. It's stunning. It is so beautiful. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
but it sounds like you're doing curbside service though, and you are able to still do business, not miss a beat. I think you were replacing wedding ring diamonds, you know, in like a few days for people, and so you're still you haven't missed a beat, it sounds like.
So we do, I mean, we started private appointments this week with the governor's orders that we could be partially open as long as we're following safety procedures. So we are doing that, accepting private appointments. And yeah, we had somebody reach out to us that lost their wedding set, had the insurance settlement, and says, is that something you guys can do? Well, absolutely. So we were pleased to be able to help her with that. So that was something we did last week. So yeah, private appointments are starting, and we're just learning how to do this along with you.
That's so neat. Well, Christine will be telling more about her story on May 20 at our business roundtable. And she and Chris will be telling that story. Can you imagine opening up a successful business at the age of 20? I mean, holy mackerel. I was just chasing boys at that age. I wasn't thinking about businesses, you know. Amazing. So it'll be really interesting to hear more about your success story. Yeah, I love it. I am so excited to highlight our panelists today that will be talking and reacting to this really incredible topic that we have today. We have Erin Barfels, who is principal with Carlson Group. Erin, if you want to wave for us so we can see you. There she is. Excellent. And we have Kellie Gottner, who is Chief People Officer with Aureon. Excellent. All right. So we're going to dive into the content today. Like I mentioned, use the chat feature. We will have time to do that and take that opportunity to reflect and have you all also comment on this subject. Everybody has great information they can give to us for this subject today. So we want to hear all of your ideas as well. We're going to first tee up the event today with a partial segment of a video from a gentleman by the name of Sinek. He talks a lot about culture in companies. He's amazingly inspirational. And I like how he really speaks to his team, trying to inspire them to get them excited about being a future leader. So let's tune in.
It's the companies that with an infinite mindset that are in reinvention mode. It's the companies with a finite mindset that are in survival mode, regardless of how much money they have. It's the mindset. How are we going to get through this versus how are we going to change to get through this? So I feel so optimistic because we're thinking about the future. We're in a dark tunnel, but there's a light over there. I don't know how far away that light is, but I can see it. But we're in darkness now, but when we come out of there, we will have a better train. A different train. We will be a completely different business. Some of us will have different jobs by the time we get out of this. And that's our opportunity. The opportunity is what will we be, not how do we preserve what we had. That's an infinite mindset. And I'm so proud of this team because my attitude is this, not theoretically, but because I'm watching a team go through it right now. I'm watching people reinvent themselves. I'm watching people think about their jobs differently. I'm watching people think, how can I contribute in a new way? I'm watching people say, what could we be? How will we bring our message to people in a different way, in new ways? That will last forever, by the way, not just for now. So proud of you guys, love you guys. Because we are a living example of the stuff that I'm talking about out loud. I get to say, we are doing this. We're not allowing Uber to put us out of business. We're not allowing Starbucks to put us out of business. We're not allowing the internet to put us out of business. We'll reinvent ourselves. This is not unprecedented. This has happened many, many, many times in business. This one's just a little more sudden.
And by different jobs, you don't mean different jobs out of this company, but reinvent yourself within this company.
That is the opportunity. So I know a company, it's a fine dining restaurant in New York City. He's figured out a way to become a delivery company. All of his people have kept their jobs because they have different jobs now. But if you think you're going to do the same job and you're waiting, like if you're a public speaker who was waiting for this to get through so you can go stand on a stage, I got some bad news. That ship has sailed. We have to be a normal company now where we have to market ourselves and develop product. This is a huge wake-up call for us. We had the luxury of being lazy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There was no reason to reinvent when we were drinking from a fire hose. But now the opportunity is magical. I'm thinking, how do I put myself out there without a stage? This is entirely new for me as well. This is entirely new for me. But I'm not worried about what I do. I'm worried about why I do it. And I will find a job that helps me do that. I'll make a job that helps me do that.
I love that. Okay, who has seen that clip before? Raise your hand. Oh, just a couple. Oh, yeah. Isn't that a great clip? Isn't that just so amazingly inspirational? The whole clip is 6 minutes, but he's basically saying, you know what we're going through right now is not unusual. This has gone over and over, time and time again in history. Yes, this was really sudden. This was not forecasted. This is what they call a black swan, but this is not unusual. And every day I give this speech to my team. No, I don't, but I should. It's amazing. It's so inspirational. So the thought here is we have a different world that we're living in. And I think this world is going to be different for a while. How do you position yourself as a leader in this new world? How can you contribute in a new way and position yourself for a leadership role? You know, what can you be? you know, the leader of yesterday may not look like the leader of tomorrow because we have COVID. So what are the elements, what are the things that a future leader needs to think about to really position themselves in that company, in that organization, when you maybe aren't able to see face to face? You're not able to have that conversation by the water cooler or the break room, or those touch points when you drop into your boss's office or your CEO's office. So we're going to ask that question. I asked a lot of questions there, but Kellie, Erin, we're gonna start with you. And yeah, and I'm gonna try to be quiet.
No, you're fine. Well, first, can you hear me okay? Okay. Well, first, I just wanted to thank Catherine and the rest of the Chamber for putting on this event, especially in these challenging times. I think it's important that people stay connected and have opportunities to learn what other people are doing and to get ideas so that they can think differently. So I spent the last 20 plus years in corporate HR, and it's only been recent that I left corporate HR to work for Carlson Group, which is an executive recruitment and leadership consulting firm based here in Des Moines. And so I've spent a lot of time focusing on leadership and culture and developing people and those sorts of things. So this is a topic that's really near and dear to me. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on the panel. But you know, like Catherine has said, and like Simon alludes to, while these might not be unprecedented times in terms of something unexpected happening, we're certainly in different times than what we've been accustomed to. And I think we're going to be in a point that is really going to be defining and differentiating between outstanding leaders and the mediocre and average leaders. And I think it's an opportunity for those people who may not necessarily be in formal leadership roles to really step up and make a precedent around the abilities and the skills that they have. I think it's an opportunity for all of us to really reinvent ourselves and be that person and that leader that organizations and our teams need, and that is going to look different. One of the things I think that's going to really change and become more of a focus is the way leaders lead with empathy and genuine care and concern. They have to really go outside of maybe what historically was required to demonstrate that they care about their people, that they care about them, not just as a professional that's delivering services and productivity for them, but as a person who has a family, who has, you know, perhaps pets, who has parents, who has a life outside of the workplace. And I think we're seeing that more now out of kind of happenstance because people are working from home and they're getting interrupted by their children. My husband was just on a call with somebody, he's a teacher, and the person that he was talking to had a child climbing on her the entire time. And I think we just have to be willing to give each other grace and to really work to create more of a personal connection with people. Because I think that's going to be really important now and going forward. This is going to be a period of time that people remember and that changes the way we show up in the workplace from this point forward. But it's really important that you do it in an authentic way. And so, I mean, we can talk about that a little bit later, but I think it's when you're connecting with people and you're trying to find creative ways to connect with them, it really has to be authentic and genuine, and you have to take a genuine interest in who they are as a person. So I could go on and on, Catherine, but I'll let Kellie and Christine speak up.
I love that. That's really great. That empathy, caring, concern, and we're seeing everybody differently than we ever have before. Because like you said, the baby is on your arm, the dog is, you know, Jay Byers' cat was, you know, running across the street, you know, screen the other day at one of the partnership events. You know, it's just, in a way, it really brings it to a more personal level. I think it's kind of brought us all closer together during this. So I love that authentic.
Humanizes people.
Humanizes people. I love that. Kellie, introduce yourself and tell us about you and what your thoughts are.
Sure. First, to start off, can everybody hear me okay? Yes? Great. Well, I have been with an organization here locally with, the name is called Aureon for the past 11 years. Currently, I'm serving as the Chief People Officer. So unlike Erin, I'm still in that corporate HR world. It's kind of where I've spent my career and love every single day. And it's times like these where it brings everybody to a new level, to a higher level, to be able to perform in a way that we thought many people couldn't. So want to appreciate and thank the Chamber for giving me this opportunity to be on the panel and speak with all of you despite the circumstances. I wish certainly we were all in the room together, and hopefully we'll get back to that real soon. But when I think about, the future leader look like, there's a lot of different qualities I think that a future leader needs to have. But I think one of the biggest ones, and Simon Sinek hit on it, is really understanding your external environment. What are the trends inside and outside both your industry, but just then the general business environment? I think you have to have the ability to be able to lead and approach things with change in mind. That's the only constant that we say a lot, the only constant is change. And I think this is a great example of facing that change ahead of us. I think, other qualities for a future leader, being bold and courageous, but also, as Erin had mentioned, being authentic and vulnerable at the same time. If we were in the room together, I would ask everybody to raise their hand if they've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World. In 1921, Walt Disney, he went bankrupt. And just think if he hadn't been bold and courageous enough to start again, we wouldn't be wearing Mickey Mouse ears, and we wouldn't be seeing the kids' excitement in their eyes when they get to go to Disneyland and enter the gates. So I think being bold and courageous is something that a future leader has to be ready to do, and be prepared that what you might expect isn't always what necessarily happens. I think the other part that Walt demonstrated is just that, and again Erin hit on it, is that authentic and compassionate side. I don't know if anyone's ever read The Disney Way, but it's really about not only their client experience, but it's their employee experience. And he had a model, and future leaders from that have taken that model to a next level. And so it's really that combination of making sure that you're thinking on the cutting edge, but then also bringing the people along with you along the way to make sure that they're invested in that same experience.
I love that, Kellie. That is so cool. And that book, The Disney Way, is amazing, isn't it? Yeah, very inspirational. So I love these concepts and these thoughts, and I wonder what might be kind of more specific ways, since we are living in this digital life right now and our tools are more limited, to how we can connect with our team and connect with our CEO, our business owner. What are some ways that we might suggest for a future leader to position or stand out, or really kind of be that innovator in a company? What are more tactical, I guess, approaches that we might think of to help separate that leader in the company? So anybody want to take a stab at that answer? Erin?
I can. Well, I think one of the things that is going to be really important is for people to lead from every seat. So that means we can't just rely on those people who are in formal leadership roles. We have to be able to rely on everyone to have a voice. And in one of my in both of my most recent prior jobs, we talked about leading from every seat. And we needed people to raise their hand with ideas. We need people to raise their hand with an offer to volunteer for a project, to take on a challenge, to try and solve something, to lead a team, to take an idea and execute on it. Those are going to be the opportunities that people who perhaps aren't in a formal leadership role really can demonstrate their utility, versatility, and leadership skills within the organization. at a time when we really all have to pull together, and it can't be a situation where, well, that's not my job, or I don't have the right experiences. Right now, we're all dealing and grappling with situations that none of us perhaps have maybe faced. And so we all are kind of muddling through it together. And I think now more than ever, it's imperative that people raise their hand and jump in and try and do what they can, not just for themselves, but for each other, so that there is that sense of team.
And Christine, you're, as a business owner, you're leading your team, your staff. What might be some suggestions and tactical suggestions from your perspective?
Sure, thanks. I think two-part. For those of us in the room that are leaders currently, team leaders, organizational leaders, business owners, I think we need to be in the constant space of really being sensitive to our team and what their strengths are. One thing that we do a lot is talk about people's strengths, personality traits. We do personality profiles, whatever method you choose to do that in, and know your people's strengths, and be willing to ask about them and give them space for that. I think one thing we are trying to do more of is pause as we're having Zoom calls or meetings and ask, what do you think about that? And as leaders, I know one of mine, my deep thinkers, will always say, I need to sleep on that. I have another team leader whose first answer is typically no. And then she'll back up and work into how to do it. So knowing your team, and then from the flip side, if you're in a position where you're not in a leadership role and you're looking to step into that, know yourself and know your strengths and be able to step up. As Erin said, from my seat, this is something I know I have a concern about. Here is how I think we should solve that. And this is something I can do about that. So know my strengths. I know my personality is fairly strong. I'm the closer in the room usually if I'm the salesperson, right? And that's great in some instances, and sometimes it's not. So know yourself and be willing to speak up, but to be able to say, I know this about me, and here's a strength I have that will add to this. And being willing to speak up even when you're not certain you've got all the answers. Sometimes to say, for those of us that want to think about it, can we follow up after this call? I've made some notes today while we're on this call. Can we follow up on that? To get some personal one-on-one time with your leader would be invaluable if somebody came to me and said, I thought about this after, and here's some solutions I have.
I love that. I love all of this conversation around being bold, being authentic, kind of taking risks too, stepping up, leading from every seat. I love that. That's fabulous. Kellie, what are your thoughts kind of on more tactical approaches that a future leader might consider?
Yeah, I think, anytime you can have the opportunity to connect with either a leader at your level, part of your peer team, or even above you, it's an opportunity. And Christine hit on it, to just get to know you, to get to know who the person that you are. I think it's important from that perspective in those types of meetings that you're listening probably more than you're talking. One of the things we have an internship program every year. And so I get the opportunity to spend some time with those interns. And part of that, sometimes an opener for just some of those connections or those coffees or virtual hours, whatever you want to call them, is what keeps you up at night. Too often I think we're looking to top level leaders for all of the answers, and they're talking to us. But I think even just asking that question as a person who maybe is aspiring to be a leader or wants to be a future leader, just asking that question helps that person that you're talking to know that you genuinely care what's on their mind and what keeps them up at night. And then from there, think about their response, and then how can you become part of that solution, become part of that problem that they bring up to you. And I think it's always just trying to demonstrate your value in any way that you can, to show that you are committed and dedicated to the organization and to the work that they do.
And demonstrating value, like we're all saying, that is kind of stretching yourself, extending yourself in a way that maybe you haven't before, suggesting a new line of business maybe, or a new approach to a customer. Maybe you're not even in the sales area. Crossing those lines within a company, saying, hey, I'm seeing that our competition over here is doing this. I'm in the accounting department, but I have some thoughts about that. So it's thinking outside the box, really coming up with ways you can help your employer and being that leader for sure. Very interesting. I love it. We have such a mix of people on the line here, and I'm sure so many of you can interject and actually go ahead and use that chat feature to interject a question or even a thought that you think might be really interesting that we can kind of move forward with, because I think that's always going to be helpful. Our audience here has amazing ideas and great experience, I'm sure. So, and this is a topic that can be approached from many different angles. But I feel like right now, from a communication perspective, maybe scheduling a Zoom meeting with your CEO, scheduling Zoom meetings with department chairs that you really don't know that well, and getting maybe kind of a perspective on your business. Again, it's kind of like thinking of new things that separates you from, maybe some other people at your company, to separate yourself out, to really help you ideate on how you can help move the company forward. So yeah, we'd love to hear any of your thoughts too from our audience. We're doing pretty good on time because it's 12:31, so this is good. Does anybody have any reflection or thoughts or topics that I see here? We're all in the same storm, but lots of different boats. That's definitely true. We all have the same storm that we're living within, for sure. So what have you seen from your company or your peer group? Have you seen somebody doing something particularly interesting? How do you jump in, lead from every seat without stepping on toes? Okay, that's a great one. So Priscilla asked, how do you jump in and lead from every seat without stepping on toes? Your peers' toes, probably your friends' toes, right? So really good question. Who wants to tackle that?
I think in those situations, it's really important to, as you approach those situations, is really to name your intent. Why do you want to get involved? What's the purpose of the conversation? Set some expectations, too, in terms of what you're looking for. But I think if you name your intent, the rest of those individuals that you're talking with, they know exactly what your purpose is for being there. So that can kind of sometimes take away maybe that threatening aspect. When people are, why are you getting involved? You don't have a role in this. But again, I think it's just clear to be for everyone to be able to understand what your intention is to get involved, or why you're even interested.
So Kellie, would a statement be something like, I love this company. I really want to position myself as a leader. I really want to make an impact. I have a passion for what we do. Something of that nature. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, definitely. I think it, really just that we're all rowing in the boat in the same direction. And so just making sure that, you're just trying to row with everybody as opposed to against everybody. So again, yeah, just being clear and hoping that you're looking for partnership along the way.
I love that. Really great answer. Yeah, go ahead, Erin. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was just going to say, I think sometimes it's even just, how can I help you? You're raising your hand, but you're not necessarily trying to take the work away from them. And so to Kellie's point, if you name your intent with, I care about this company and how can I help you? We have a lot of things going on and I'm here to help. I want to support you. It doesn't have to be, I'll do it for you, unless that's what they want, but it could be, how can I help you? How can I lighten your load? And I think that's going to be something that's going to be really important going forward as well, is turning the focus away from ourselves as much and focusing it out onto other people to how can we lighten their load. And if everybody is looking to help other people, then it becomes less, people become less self-centered and you become more team-oriented and more collaborative.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's a great question to ask. I'm sure any leader would love to help answer that question. Here's some things I need help on. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we have another question from Lindsay Matthews. Lindsay asks, with those who need to really think on things before responding, and that's what Christine mentioned, right? The person that has to think about it, come back later. What are the tips to avoid taking silence as agreement? In other words, tips for remembering to let people have the time for reflection. So, yeah, good question. Christine, do you want to help answer that?
Sure. I will say this is, something I've really had to learn and really watch myself on. I have a very good partner in our organization and my office manager who functions as my executive assistant. And really nothing gets done unless Beth has done it in our store. So she is a very thoughtful, intentional individual, and I've learned a lot from her. I take cues from her in meetings. But as the leader with the individual that needs to think, I've really had to learn to slow down and ask Ian, what do you think? Really specific about the situation and pause. And then I always leave room for, I know we're going to have a second discussion. My personality isn't that way. So my first answer is, we need to get this done. How do we fix it and move on and go? And sometimes that's required, and he'll know that. Hey, we are going to have to do this today. And then he'll know that. But as the leader, I need to just keep remembering that. Leave space on your page when you're making notes. Leave blank space for the topics you need to cover. And that helps me then, before I move on to the next thing, leave space. But for Ian, he's done some work as well on, I know this about myself, so I need to insert, I'm not sure I'm clear on this. I need further communication on this in this way. Or he'll just say, yeah, I'm not ready to make a decision on that. As a team, we make decisions as groups usually. I try not to make individual decisions unless I have to. So we kind of, I foster a culture of team engagement first. So as a company, if that's your culture, that's certainly helpful. But I know that's not all the case. So if you don't have that, then as the person who needs time to respond, come up with a couple ways that you can really insert in that conversation. I may need some more information here. I heard you say this, and then repeat that back. Is this your concern? Again, I think as we're addressing concerns that are out there in the company in a way that says, I hear you're concerned about this as my leader. I agree with you because, fill that in. The company is in jeopardy because, or this is a concern for our company because, and as we frame things that way, gives you time to think and then make some notes, but then you'll have to know you will need to follow up with your leader if you're one of those that needs time, and request that time ahead of time, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and maybe even decision making, instead of, we make decisions like very quickly, and maybe the decision making process could be, let's sleep on this. Let me know if you have any questions, and then maybe we'll make our decision on this tomorrow at 9 a.m. That way there's more space for that person even to internalize, ask questions, send an email, put it in their brain a little bit more, because some people work with information in different ways. And I love it. I love it. We have, let's see here. Okay, we have some more questions. Therese Wilagi is asking, hi Therese, if your manager does not know your desire to grow as a leader, that's something you should fix. So being transparent, letting your leader know that you desire to be a leader. Yeah, and that's such a good point. I think we probably assume that all of our bosses or our CEO, we assume they know we want to be a leader, but until you verbalize that and say that, have meetings on that, put something down on paper. Yeah, isn't that interesting, Therese? Yeah. Do you have any advice? You're a leader, Therese, at your company. Do you have any advice around that? Good question.
I've just I've done several panels on how waiting and hoping is not a strategy. Waiting and hoping, not a strategy. If your manager does not know that you desire to be a leader and take a lead, so somebody asked, how do you do it without stepping on toes? I would say, in a meeting like this, you could say, I don't disagree, but let me play devil's advocate so that, you know, we've covered this from all angles. And go from there. And you're helping the conversation. I invite my team to tell me I'm wrong and why every time. Tell me I'm wrong. Go. And then I also put on there, sometimes I just say, I need you guys to all think about it because I want to make sure I have all your thoughts. So we're going to take a little break. We'll come back in 3 minutes or so. Right. And I'll pull up whatever the next topic is so they have time to think. And then we make sure everybody's collected their thoughts. So those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, and so don't ever assume people know your desire to move up in a company, right? Never assume that. So be clear about that. Have coffees, Zoom meetings with your management team. Yeah.
And hey, Catherine,
such great
just
advice.
because I've just recently experienced it myself, people are under stressful situations. They're working from home. They're trying to homeschool. They're trying to do all these things. And sometimes they get a little snippy. And it's, you know, right away I'm going, oh my God, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean to, it's not me. They're just having a day. Mm-hmm. So just everybody needs to like allow everybody to, you know, have those emotional moments that are probably inappropriate and let it be okay.
I think Erin mentioned that in the beginning, give grace during this time. Yeah, I recall you saying that for sure. Thank you, Therese.
Yourself too. We're all going to have less than stellar moments ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So give it to yourself. So I love what you said, Teresa, about, is it Therese or Therese? You know, I think leading from every seat, a perfect example of that is raising your hand and saying what your aspirations are. No one can lead your own career path and your professional development better than you can. And I think in organizations where I've worked, that's really been something that we've impressed upon. The leader's role is to help you get to where you want to go, but they can't help you if they have no idea. And so I think one of the first things that every person should do is to make sure that their manager is clear about what their personal and professional aspirations are to the degree that that leader can help them.
Yeah, really good advice. And that's something I think we kind of forget about and we just assume everybody knows. Yeah, it's really, really great advice. Haley has a question. Haley Meissen. Here's Haley's question. In a time where job responsibilities may be more professional development or training or process improvement focused, how can you demonstrate your value add to leadership? In a time when job responsibilities are more PD, you know, training, process improvement, how can you demonstrate your value add to leadership? Yeah, good question. Anybody want to tackle that? And anybody from our audience, you can feel free to tackle too. It's a good question. So it's, you know, how do you show your value add to leadership? I think it's just being that leader and highlighting your strong suits. We were talking about the profiling that you do, Christine, and which kind of highlights your traits and what you're really good at and where you really excel, and maybe spotlighting those wonderful attributes that you bring to the company.
I think to Haley's question, you know, as one thing in our industry, that's one thing we are seeing a lot now, you know, particularly when the stores aren't open. What are we doing at home, and what are we, you know, everybody's got a webinar to get on, right, and learn something. I would say to that, to be specific about what you're learning in that and take that to your leader. This is what I learned here, and this is something I think we can apply to our organization or my role, or even, you know, jump silos, you all call it in large corporations. I heard this today. This is something that could potentially apply to us moving forward. I can use this skill now, fill in the blank. thank you for allowing me the opportunity to take that class. Here's something I've learned. I think feedback to your manager anytime, you know, we're hoping you're learning something, but if you actually tell me you are, that's even better. And making a plan to implement what you've learned and sharing that with others would be my first thought. Some of the feedback we're getting from our team has been very helpful as they're listening to webinars and learning too.
I love that. That's such a great answer. And you're right. So, you know, Christine, one idea, let's say you're doing this PD program, bring it back to your entire company, do a presentation or a PowerPoint. What did you learn? How can you impart that knowledge on other people to help them grow? Like Erin was saying, think about how you can help other people. So if you really learned a lot from some PD or training, yeah, how can you kind of do maybe a little mini TED talk on it, do a little video on the coolest things you learned in this training and spread it out to the world? Or yeah, so share that knowledge to help other people. Love that.
One of the things that we used to do as like within my HR department is we would have weekly meetings, and every week we were all responsible for bringing something new that we could teach somebody on the team. And it didn't have to be, you know, some huge thing, but it might just be something small. It might be with technology. It might be with something that they learned in a webinar. And I think that builds that continuous learning, but it also improves the team as a whole as well, and demonstrates this aspiration to continue to learn and grow.
Ooh, we might copy that. That's cool. I love that. Rose, you were going to say something?
One thing that I think in working with emerging leaders, young people, that always caught my attention or even helped to shine the spotlight on that particular person was if they had a challenge or even something, a care or a concern, not only would they bring it to the table, but they would also bring a solution. And I just think that always helped so much, again, to identify them as a potential leader moving forward, regardless of how maybe outlandish they might think the solution is. Offering something every time you express a problem, a challenge, whatever, to come to the table with a solution. It's important.
I love that. A lot of people are good at pointing out problems, but they're maybe not so good at helping define a solution. Yeah, I love that. That is really positive.
Leaders are taking on more than ever right now because of a lot of additional responsibilities that we all have, whether that's transitioning to working from home or being part of a COVID group, response group within your company. Something that I've found in the past to be helpful is to sit down regularly with your leader and talk with them about just how they're doing and offer your help. Is there anything that you're working on right now that I can help take off your plate or that I could be helpful with? And not, some leaders are better than others at delegating. So knowing your leader on that personal level and their ability to delegate, or if they're the kind of person who keeps everything on themselves and piles it up, that can be a way that you can show yourself as someone who's willing to take on new challenges and someone who's willing to support them in their role. And I know that that's something that's been helpful for me in the past.
I love that. And being very growth mindset oriented, not just saying, well, you know, that's not in my job description, but thinking outside of that and thinking how you can help your manager, your leadership, and extending yourself in new ways. Offer your help. I love that. That is so good. Let's see, we've got, Rose, you have a question too. As a leader, I think it's important to show compassion and acceptance. What are ways to show compassion and acceptance as a leader? Okay, who wants to tackle that question? That's a good one.
I think for me right now, it's being flexible with my team. I've got mostly young people that work for me that have small children, so they're juggling working spouses and being here and taking care of kids. And one example I have is I've got a young man whose wife just had a baby, and she's struggling with some postpartum health issues, and he wrote and said, I'll take PTO the rest of this week because I need to help Emily. I'm like, you don't need to take PTO during all this. Just go be with your family and we'll figure it out later. So being, everybody talks about being empathetic. I think flexibility and just, again, as other folks have said, continue to give grace during what is a very stressful time for all of us.
I love that, Kim. Yeah, that's so important as a leader right now. I love that. And Therese has a question here. Okay, I think that, let's see, really want to be sure I have all your thoughts, so we're going to think about it. We're going to take a short break, come back. All right. Let's see.
I had mentioned that one already, Catherine. It wasn't a question. It was just an answer to what you were already talking about.
I got you. Thank you. I'm a little low on my Zoom chat scroll here. Okay, good. Oh, good. We have a general question. I love this. Rose. All right. The West Des Moines Leadership Academy is near and dear to my heart. Thank you, Rose. Appreciate that. Are applications being taken for next year? That's a great question. And I'm going to have Kara help answer that question since she's our Director of Workforce.
Absolutely. So we are taking applications right now for the 2021 or 2020 to 2021 leadership class. And we do have to limit that to 30 some. So if you have anyone, it does not matter the age. We have had people who are early in their career, who are maybe 20, 30 years into their career, participate in this and absolutely love it. So if you have anyone who is interested, or maybe you yourself are, then you can go ahead and reach out to me. My email is Kara, K-A-R-A, at wdmchamber.org, and I would be happy to get you additional information on that. It's a really, really great 9-month robust program that we've offered for years at the Chamber. And I actually can see people on the screen right now who have gone through it. And thank you for all participating. And we're looking forward to next year's class as well.
Nice. I love that. And it looks like we have one question, and then we're going to do a prize giveaway. So Christine Osborne with Christoper's Fine Jewelry is doing a prize today for this event, which is amazing. And it's a beautiful piece of jewelry. So we'll show you that in a second. We've got our one last question. Haley Meissen asks, what are some recommendations you have for showing appreciation to your leadership team, especially now during this time? So showing your leadership that you appreciate them. Good question. Anybody want to tackle that answer?
I mean, I'm a fan of personally written notes. I think it's a lost art, and that's something that I try and be really intentional about, is writing people personal notes to thank them and be specific about what the positive impact was to you. Don't just say thank you. Tell them why you're thanking them and why their efforts or why their leadership or why, their strategies are so beneficial to you and why you're writing the note. And I think, if you want to become memorable as well, I mean, a handwritten note will be memorable just because people don't do it very often anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like a stamp, address, post office. Woo.
I agree. Handwritten thank yous for everything are in a lot of different ways, just a best practice to get into. I will say one of my favorite text messages I've gotten from my team, we're a team of 18, so a small business, a little different than some with corporations, but I got just the sweetest thank you for what you're doing right now. I know it's stressful. I know there's a lot going on, and I personally appreciate you doing this for our business, right? So again, we build a culture that this is our team, this is our business. When they feel personally responsible for the business like I am, then, good things happen. And that, by the way, was related to, they were hearing what, I hate to even say it out loud because it makes everybody's eyes twitch, but the PPP loans and the IDL grants and what are we doing to, to keep in. And, that task, as any of you know that had to do it, took, it was a few flaming hoops that we went through to get going. But they were hearing that that's what we were doing. And then just a text, a specific, like Erin said, and because I know it matters and I know you're helping our business, so thank you.
Thank
One
you.
thing
I think it's great.
that we do at the firm is we have a program called You Make a Difference. And it's nothing great, but when people are doing something of merit or something good, it's almost like catching somebody at doing something good as opposed to catching them when they're doing something bad. And that doesn't sound too good, but it's just an opportunity to give them some praise that they weren't expecting. And we give a little note along with a, $5 gift card to McDonald's or Dairy Queen or something like that. But it encourages people to, look for ways that they can make a difference at our CPA firm.
I love that. Yeah, it's those smaller things, and taking the time to do that, I think, makes a huge impact, not only to your leadership team, with your peer group, with, people all around you in the organization. That's just a neat thing to be recognized. Kim, were you going to say something?
Yeah, this isn't related necessarily to leadership, but being memorable and the handwritten note piece. I'm a business development professional, and right now I can't do that, which is a real struggle. I'm usually the most caffeinated person in the room. So I've taken to doing old-fashioned letter writing and sending out a little hand sanitizer to people that I want to get in front of after this is all over. So be creative.
Ooh, I love that. That's awesome. Hand
And you know what?
sanitizer, hard to come by.
And Catherine,
Mm-hmm.
what really stands out, I mean, as a leadership team in our company, we spend a lot of time on how we're, how we appreciate the next level down and the next level down, and making sure that they feel appreciated and all of that. It almost never comes back up the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Almost never. And when it does, it's like, wow. So if somebody wants, top executives to recognize who they are, oh my gosh, send them a thank you note. It is, believe me, it's thrilling.
Because it doesn't happen very often, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. You heard it here. There's the best tip. Honestly, it sounds like a great way to stand out. Mm-hmm. As long as it's genuine and authentic. We talked about that. It has to be authentic, specific. Yeah. Like what Erin was saying. And yeah, I love it. Well, this has been good. We talked about so many ideas. We did tape this conversation today, and we will have it on our website. It's great content. And we want people that weren't able to tune in today to also tune in the future. Jen Nelson has this neat statement that I do want to mention. Jen says that her company, Navigate, is a smaller business, and you guys did a parade drive by your CEO's house with your families. That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about that. That's cool. Oh, I think you're on mute, Jen. Maybe.
I got too many devices going on. Yeah. On Fridays, we incorporated like a 3 o'clock happy hour check-in with, and we're about 40 employees, but some of us are remote. But instead of doing the happy hour, we actually, just like the schools do, we made signs and we surprised our CEO and drove by his house. So that was kind of fun. And we brought our families, and it was really neat. So I think you could do the same thing for direct leaders. You wouldn't have to, some people are in bigger corporations, you probably wouldn't drive by your CEO's house. But I think it would be fun to do for even just like a direct report or a leader that you look up to. And it was really fun. And he got to see people's families and the cars, and it was really cool. So yeah.
Was it
another idea?
Surprise? Was it a total surprise?
Yeah,
Jen?
he had no idea. He had planned a call before it, and his executive assistant had to kind of finagle with his wife, and he actually hit his head trying to get outside because he thought something happened to his daughter. And then here we are. So it was funny. The whole story is kind of funny, but I don't know, it's hilarious. But yeah, he was totally surprised.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for contributing to today. We are going to do a prize giveaway. So Christine Osborne is going to pick a number at random. We have 84 people on the line here, but she's going to pick a number at random that'll win our prize today. So
Thank you, Catherine. So I think, and you guys are awesome, your technology, and we have the item up on the screen. We thought it would be fun to have somebody be able to pick up curbside, a fun gift today. So in honor of our 40th anniversary, I think, can you scroll down and tell us who the 40th individual to register for today's meeting was? And I'd love to have them be the winner today.
Ooh. Colleen Kinsey with Kinsey Co.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, yay.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Where is she? There she is.
Thank you, Christoper.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Colleen,
thank
that's
you.
wonderful.
Thank
All
you. Well,
right.
you will get to experience our curbside delivery service, and we'll I'll have my team coordinate that with
I got to take a
you.
picture of that. That's great.
Oh, fun. Oh, congratulations.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
You are most welcome. It's our pleasure to do that today. We wanted to bring a little fun, and you know, us jewelers want to have a little jewelry and sparkle with everything. So you can wear this on your Zoom calls every day.
Yeah. So Colleen, once you pick that up curbside service, do a little picture of yourself and hashtag Christoper's Fine Jewelry and include the chamber, you know, keep the love going. I love it. I love it.
Oh,
We're
don't
looking
worry,
for,
girl. Digital marketing master over here. I got you.
Okay, I love that.
We'll
We're
have
looking
Stephanie
for
reach out to you. Oh, fun.
We're looking for more social media content, so I love that so much. Well, thank you
that's
so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for Christine Osborne, 40-year anniversary at Christoper's Fine Jewelry and Rare Coins, amazing partner of the Chamber. Thank you so much for your highly valued partnership with us. And thank you to our participants, Erin Barfels, principal of Carlson Group, and Kellie Gottner, Chief People Officer. I love that title of Aureon. So thank you so much. We wish everybody a happy and safe day. If you are not plugged into our email newsletters, go to our website at wdmchamber.org. We are a non-for-profit 501c6, and sign up for our email newsletters. That'll plug you into all of our events and the amazing things that we're doing. We are innovating every day to help you and our region. Reach out to us, and we appreciate your support of the Chamber and of West Des Moines. So everybody, take care, be safe, and happy hand washing. Bye, everybody.